Today's lesson will focus on the French and Indian War, which took place between the years 1754 and 1763. Before we get started on the actual war, it is important to understand the background information. In the 1700s, both England and France occupied large areas of North America that bordered each other. If you take a look at the map, you can see that the French territory is yellow, while the British territory is purple. Each of these countries wanted to increase their land area for more living space and other financial opportunities. England continued to expand toward the Ohio River, which upset both the Native Americans living there as well as the French. The war began in 1753 when France started building forts in the land between Lake Erie and the Ohio River, which was very close to the colony of Virginia. Feeling threatened, the Virginia governor sent a militia or a group of non-professional soldiers led by George Washington to order that the French leave the area. The French refused to listen. They continued to build forts, and as a result, Virginia governor sent Washington once more to make the French leave the area. When he arrived, he had seen that the French had already built Fort Duquesne, so he went and built Fort Necessity, but he will be defeated there by the French at Fort Necessity. When it was clear that war was inevitable, colonial representatives met in Albany, New York to discuss a plan for unification. This was called the Albany Congress. England wanted the colonies to have an active role in the war to defend themselves. They also would use this time to try to convince the tribe of the Iroquois to join them in an alliance. The French already had allied themselves with the tribe of the Hurons. The Iroquois will reject this because they felt that the French would defeat the English. Benjamin Franklin was in charge of drawing up the Albany Plan for Unification. Under this plan, a Council of Representatives would be created who would control the western settlements, organize an army, and collect taxes. But this would be rejected by most colonies because they felt that it would give the colonial governments less power. Before war was even formally declared by England or France, the English will suffer a massive defeat at Fort Duquesne. British General Braddock was inexperienced on how to fight in North America. He was used to two different sides marching in lines at each other and opening fire in an open field. The French and the Native Americans in North America, however, would use guerrilla tactics and ambush them frequently. Because Braddock was inexperienced, he will suffer a major defeat at Fort Duquesne in which half his men, including himself, will die in battle. The beginning of the war was not easy at all for the British. They lost various battles in Canada as well as in New York. This further strengthened the Iroquois' reasoning for not allying themselves with the British. Finally, on May of 1756, England formally declared war on France, starting the 7 Years' War. Finally, with a victory at present-day Pittsburgh, the Iroquois were finally convinced to join the British sides, which will greatly help them in their war tactics as well as number of men fighting. In 1759, the British will win and take over the colony of Quebec. With this loss, the French could no longer defend its territory in Canada. Now that France could no longer defend its territory in North America, it was time that they admit defeat. The Treaty of Paris will be signed in February of 1763, ending the war. In this treaty, France lost almost all of its land in North America outside its sugar plantations in the Caribbean islands. England would also be given Canada and the land east of the Mississippi River except the New Orleans port, as well as Florida from Spain. And they will have Spain until the end of the Revolutionary War, in which they will sell it back. Spain was given all the land west of the Mississippi River and New Orleans as payment for their helping the French in the war. If you take a look at the map on the right side of your screen, you can see the differences of the territory from before the war and after the war. But now that the war is over, England is faced with a massive debt from paying for soldiers, supplies, and other things. This is going to cause many problems between the colonies and Great Britain.